Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Overlap Podcast. This is Sid Sexton and my good friend Keith Glines. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Sid.
Episode 105, and coming back at you with, with another Keith topic, and this is a good one. Why don't you just take it from here?
So this also comes from questions from listeners. I think entrepreneurs sometimes, especially fairly new ones, don't think that they have the time to read, and I've been there.
Okay.
I've been the I don't know. I think early in my career I said, just don't have time. I'm building something. But what I didn't realize was the value that reading kind of has.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that gets overlooked when we're, grinding every day.
Sure.
That I don't want to come home and read. I don't want to do that. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
And so my perspective on it is you don't have that option because of the value that reading has in all aspects of life, I think.
So if you're listening right now and you didn't read the title of the episode, we're talking about why do you read, why you should read, what are the benefits and all of that stuff. And so let me ask you, Keith, why do you read? You said you just don't have an option. You have to. But why do you? Other than obligation, some weird obligation.
Well, I can get into that vein also of feeling, I got to because I'm supposed to.
Okay.
Right? Because that's one thing we hear. Got to be a reader.
Yeah. Rick Miller says, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers.
Yes.
That's what he says.
Yeah. And so you hear that, and then you run a business every day and you're like, where do I find the time?
Yeah. And you got a family. And we're talking about fitness and working out, and we're talking about getting away, and we're talking about, all kinds of things. How do you shoehorn one other thing into your busy schedule?
But I would say that you don't have the option to not read because of the perspective that it gives you about everything in life.
So is that why you read? Because of the perspective you get?
It is.
Jordan Sexton can now drink because she plays a drinking game for every time we use the word perspective. So
I know.
There you go. I hope you're not driving.
Drink it up.
There you go. So turn it up, girl. Okay, so you read because of the perspective. It brings you. Unpack that a little bit for us.
Worldview to me is a big deal, and I believe that as we age, at least for me, I've become more stagnant in my worldview. And I think reading gives that perspective that you need to kind of open that up. Because I feel that we should all be growing in the way that we see the world, in the way that we see our business, in the way that we see our family.
Let me ask some clarifying questions for the dirt scratchers and contractors that are listening. What do you mean by worldview? What does that mean?
The philosophy in which you take on your obligations as a leader.
So do you mean that I need to believe in man-made climate change, or that, there's 47 genders, or are you saying that, just the way you interact with others and stuff?
Maybe the way that you interact with others that believe that there's 47 genders.
What a good sidetrack. I don't know why I set a trap for you there. And I said, as soon as I said that, I was like, oh crap, there's a trap. Don't answer any of that. We don't want to be polarizing here, okay? There's debates going on right now, and there's primaries, and I don't want to be involved in any of those discussions. So don't send me that. I don't want you to know my worldview.
I can't. Well, I had a call yesterday about asking me my worldview about the new possibility of a mask mandate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was
Have you
that
not
like
said Biden came out and said,
what?
and we don't go political on this podcast
Oh,
too
wow.
often, but he did.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh my God. Now, oh man, now I'm getting itchy.
You and me both. I can't breathe.
So, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Was that a phone polling kind of thing? Like,
no, it
or
was
just
in the
an
news.
individual?
It's in the news, and this person called me and said, "Is this really?" I don't know. I guess because we have a podcast now, people think that we're in the know, and I really hadn't even seen it in the news until they brought it to my attention.
I'm so not in the know that I didn't even know that that was a thing.
No, me neither.
Okay. So worldview, and I guess my interpretation is really kind of how I interact with others, and really, I think what my interpretation of what you're saying, and it may not be exactly what you're saying, is opening myself up to other ideas, so I therefore have better empathy for those folks that do have a different opinion than I do. I don't have to believe what they believe, but I can have some empathy because I understand where they're coming from.
Correct.
God, if that's not a tweetable
that
thing.
is really, really good.
Sometimes
I just had to think on that when you said it. And I very rarely have to ponder on the things that you say. I normally get them right away.
It sounded really good. I'm sure I read that somewhere.
But that is like really, really, really good.
So you read to kind of open yourself up. I'm good with that. What other business practical and look, we can unravel that thread there. But are there other business practical uses for reading?
Oh, definitely so. It gives you, here we go again. I'm not going to use the word perspective.
Okay. But
Jordan,
you just said it. She's going to drink again.
Yeah, but there it is. But it gives you a different viewpoint.
Okay.
Into your business when you read. We were just talking about a book that's kind of rocked all the people in our circle a little bit and gave a way different viewpoint into our businesses. You're reading it now.
Yeah,
we're
going to definitely reviewing that.
We are.
Because I'm reading it and rereading it, and it's so good. That's kind of how I read, and I study, and I underline, and then I take notes, and then it takes me a while to fully digest a book that kind of gets me, because I don't want to lose it, because I know when I get into a book that I'm going to implement, I'm like, okay, I'm going to implement a lot of this, so let me figure out how I'm implementing it and write the notes so I don't forget it, and give myself kind of outlines for implementing and stuff like that. So, yeah.
The whole Delegate Elevate podcast that we did a couple weeks ago came from me reading a book.
Okay.
And not just EOS. But the automation part of it, I've learned to automate not from other people, but from directly reading resources on automation.
Right. And the 4-hour work week. And
absolutely. Well, that gave me the perspective.
Mm-hmm. Opened up your eyes.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to practically do it. And so since then, I've read books on the practicality of automation.
Yeah. So if you were to ask me, hey, why do you read? I do think it allows me to have greater vision about what is possible and how to approach the problems that are inevitably in my life or business or relationships. When I read, I'm able to internalize ideas and start to run them through the gears that are in my mind to see how they will fit into other gears to finally get all the things moving in the right direction with problems that I'm having. I think it helps me to be a better thinker. And it probably sort of that ties in with what you were saying, that it gives you a perspective. Once I know what's possible, I'm able to sort of move forward and overcome obstacles. But if I don't think that it's possible, I might shut down and not try to approach them. Michael Hyatt, actually, when we're talking about, and we both use his full focus planner, and that guy should just give us some money because we mention it all the time.
I know, and we did a whole podcast on it.
Yeah. We should send that to him. But so he says the number one reason for leaders reading is it makes us better thinkers. And there I go. I just kind of stole that. But reading is one of the most efficient ways to acquire information. I didn't think about that, but that's a good one. And leaders need a lot of general information to keep perspectives and seize opportunities. There's perspective again, Jordan. But reading does more than give us a toolbox of ideas. It actually upgrades our analytical tools, especially our judgment and problem-solving abilities.
I like that last sentence.
Yeah.
I was looking at that. It actually upgrades our analytical tools, especially our judgment and problem-solving abilities.
Yeah. So when I read, I have to slow down enough, and some people read fast. I read pretty slow. I have to slow down enough to really think about the ideas that are in it. And so that's where I think it helps me become a problem solver, because I slow down and really listen to what the writer is saying. And I think about what they're really, what they're trying to say and how it pertains to me. I'm always, maybe that's the selfish part of me, I'm always going, okay, that affects me this way. This is how I could utilize that, and all that kind of stuff. And if you see my books, they're just underlined and in the margins, writing little notes. And then I've got like notes in my notes app on my iPad and stuff. So
another thing I see you do with reading is it helps you, because the way that I use reading in my organization and the way that you use reading, you normally trickle it down when you think that a general idea is good.
Yeah.
To your management. I don't really have that.
Yeah.
I can't tell my contractors, hey, I need you to read this book.
Yeah. Go read that.
Yeah, go read that. So I have to implement it practically at my level. But what I see you do with reading, and what I think that people can get from this, is that it's also a way to trickle down in your organization an idea.
Yeah. Well, we do that. I mean, part of our tier system, our leadership, our career ladder, all that stuff, requires reading, because I do think reading gives you inspiration.
This is a question I get a lot from business owners that have lots of employees, our team members.
There you go.
How do you, I hate to use the word demand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
How do you demand that your team read a book?
Well, I think you suggest it, demand, they're probably going to lie to you about reading it,
Yeah, but, and what?
So I think you can.
What rules?
This goes to answer your question. I think this goes to leadership in general. And if you're going to lead people to new ideas, whatever, you can lead from two different ways. You can lead by dictate, and you'll get some conformity, or you can lead by inspiration, where you get people fired up about doing what you're asking them to do. I always try to go towards, inspiration. And influence. And so how do I get them to read the book? I first read it. I'm not going to say, hey, let's all read this, and I'm not sure what it's about, but, it's highly recommended. I will read it. It will change me in a certain way. Then I will explain it to a small group of folks. And then I will have them read it by inspiring them to read it and telling them, this is how inspiration works in my mind. What's in it for them? You sort of explain, man, I read this and I was thinking about you. And if you read this, I think you'll connect with these ideas and it'll help you in your role and probably save you time, but definitely save you some heartache and some frustration. Whatever. Couldn't we both agree that you're frustrated with this, and this, right? Whatever. And then you get them on board, and then they will in turn probably do the same towards others. Now, there's that. But then in like a career ladder kind of situation, we'll put it on the career ladder. So it's stated this is an obstacle or not an obstacle, but something you need to do to get to the next level. And you will always get those folks that will say, oh, I ain't got time to read that. And then that's where you just come in with the inspiration again. And you go, look, it's on the thing for a reason. If you trust me, and I think I've got a pretty good level of trust with most of the folks that work at our place. So look, you trust me. Yeah, I trust you. Trust me that this is important for you. It's so important that I put it in the career ladder. It's so important that I think for you to do this job at that level, that's the information you really need. And by the way, it'll teach you, and this is what I always tell people with the career ladder, it'll teach you that you are capable of learning new things, and it's going to open your eyes. That's where I talk about vision. It'll open your eyes to what's available and what's out there and how you can manage differently. So inspiration. That's how I get people to do that stuff, I guess.
You're very inspiring.
Oh my God.
How far down the career ladder do you infiltrate a book into your organization?
Well, obviously it depends on the book, but like the lowest level book we have is one called Winning with Accountability. It's like 80 pages and the print is pretty big. So even a slow reader like myself can read it in a night, or you can do it in a couple of nights. You could read 40 pages and 40 pages pretty easy in 2 separate nights, 2 separate sittings. And then that's a pretty small little chunk. So you get them kind of inspired to read. And lots of people aren't going to do it, and that's okay. But the folks that do, they take the little test, so we know that they took it. They feel good about overcoming that obstacle, and now they're inspired to do more. And then we'll add a little bit larger book, So where does that, to answer your question where does that lowest level book go? Well, that's sort of in preparation for you to become a driver, a crew leader. And so before you can get kind of even thought about that, you should have read that book, so that gives you the language of accountability.
And do you verify all the books that you suggest?
Yeah, there's a little test, like a 10-question test. And
that you make up?
That we just make up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, these are and really and you might go, okay, well, where do the questions come from? Well, they're the specific things that I want you to get from that book, This is the specific stuff. So if you got it, great, and it just reinforces the information that I'd like for you to garner from that. Now, are they cheating? Maybe, I don't know, but that's gonna play out over time.
Full disclosure
anyways.
here: the short time I was in the corporate world, I never read one thing that they suggested.
Yeah, probably not. That's okay, and that's why you didn't last long.
And any videos they had me watch, I tried to scan through.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
that's
I fast forwarded through.
That's okay.
I would always hate, though, when I would show up and there would be like people watching me have to read or do the video. And then it's funny, the very last job I had in the corporate world was I was a trainer. So I had to guide a video.
Good. That's karma.
Yeah, it is. It's the way the world works.
It's the way the world works, for sure. So, another way that reading inspires, and this is also something that Michael Hyatt said, is it improves our people skills. And I think that goes back to that empathy thing that I was talking about. And it's probably exactly what you were talking about with worldview and stuff like that, is just getting an idea that other people have different ideas, and it doesn't make them bad people sometimes. There's some bad ideas out there, but I can get along with you because I kind of understand where you're coming from.
But it helps us realize that the people with different ideas, we can use and implement.
Yeah.
Because we may be missing something.
Exactly.
That's another thing that I've noticed about having my team read a book. And, there's 3 of us at the leadership level.
Sure.
what they get from it and what I get from it, because we see in different lenses, can be two different things.
That's a very good point. Depending on age, depending on upbringing, worldview, depending on where they are in life too, what's going on.
I feel like you're calling me a tree hugger right now for using the word worldview.
It's pretty tree huggerish language, but that's okay. Well, I've read a lot and I'm accepting of all,
Well, I have on tight shorts today.
You do. They look great. Jiba would be so happy.
Okay. Thanks.
Let me tell you about one of our sponsors, Chris Drogmiller. He's with CMD Fencing. One, I really appreciate his support to the podcast. He listens to the podcast, but long before that, he has done several projects for me at my home, at our business, and the dude just does an awesome job. One of the things I really like about him is it's basically just him and someone that helps him. His attention to detail is phenomenal. The work is always high quality. If you've ever had a fence built, you know that the gate itself and how it opens and shuts is kind of the stamp of quality. It always works well. I've made him make some interesting kind of fencing where it's all horizontal. He had no problems with that, did a great job. And the guy is freaking awesome. He's easy to work with and he does a fantastic job. He's a firefighter. So, he works 2 days on and 2 days off. So he comes in and knocks my project out on the days that he's off. And the dude's awesome. You can find him on our website, overlaplife.com. You can find him on Facebook, CMD Fencing. And let's see, his phone number is 901-484-5546. So if you need a fence, need some fence work, call Chris Drogmiller, CMD Fencing.
Hey guys, this is Keith. Let me break down a scenario for you. Are you a business owner that is overwhelmed by the options of investing, but you're being told you need to invest in retirement, you need to invest in mutual funds, you need to buy some single stocks? Well, I have your fix. C2 Wealth Strategies, ran by our friend Wes Cody. Their website is c2wealth.com. If you are looking at investing at all and are confused by it, give them a call today. They will be happy to handle whatever you need. He's brought up very specific things that I need to be working on as a business owner in my investing life. Let him do that same thing for you.
But back to Michael Hyatt again, he said stories give us an opportunity to walk in other people's shoes and see the world through their experiences and with their motivations. This is especially true for novels, biographies, and memoirs. When asked about the reading that helps her lead her business, one CEO said the insights about human nature in fiction and poetry has made all the difference in understanding and relating to her people. I cannot relate to that, but I do not have that experience, but I understand what she's saying.
I'll be real honest with you. I struggle with fiction.
I don't struggle with it. I just know that I'm a slow reader, so my reading time is really valuable. So I only read things that are going to move me in the direction that I'm trying to go. But that may be like hyper goal focused me,
I don't want anybody to listen to this that buys our books, though, because I just launched a fiction imprint.
There you go.
Side note, first 2 books coming out first of the year. Go get them.
What are they called? Do you have titles?
We don't have titles yet.
What about the War Eagle one?
That's not a fiction book, though.
Oh, it's not. That's right. That's true. Not. That's true. Sorry.
One of them is titled Sacred Duty.
Sacred Duty.
And we're kind of just working on the other title.
What's the name of the Auburn one for all the Auburn folks out there?
I can't remember. We did that last year.
It was great.
When I do
Bo don't know.
Bo don't know me.
Bo don't know me. That's
there.
It is. Yeah. It was cool. Are we even pressing on, why reading is important? I don't know. I feel like I'm not inspiring others to read, but I can tell you this. every great leader has been a really good reader that I know of. I'm sure there are some out there, and if if you're listening and you know some folks that did that, fine, send the email to Keith at keithglines.com or whatever. And so I just trying to do, what do, the people that I'm trying to be like, what do they do? And all of them read, and then the folks that I start surrounding myself, I'm going to land the plane. I got some ideas on this. The folks that I surround myself with are constantly giving book recommendations back and forth, even the peer group that I was in for a long time. One of the big things that we did was read a book and then suggest it to others, or suggest that we read it together and give me the insight on that. I did that for 17 years,
I gave you a book today.
I know. See, Forrest really has been going off on this other book that you and I have been talking about. And you had mentioned it. And I was like, okay, I'll get to it. I got busy, whatever, moving, whatever. And then he mentioned it, and then someone else mentioned it, and I'm like, all right, that's it. I got it, man. I'm hearing you, universe. I need to read this right now.
Implementing the things in that book, and we're not giving it away because I don't want you to know it, but I don't know that there's been a book that has been as world-changing to me in such a short time. Most books I read, I have to implement over years.
Yeah.
And this book that we're going to go over once it finishes, it's going to change your life.
And that's where I'm sort of trying to land the plane on, is that running a business is difficult. So we talk about coaching. Why do we talk about coaching? Because we need some direction, and really we need inspiration, because it's easy to see all the bad things that are going down. It's easy to see all your warts and all the gaps that you have. It's important to intentionally seek out guidance, but with guidance or with new ideas, you start to have inspiration, and that's where you get the energy, the power, the whatever it takes to overcome the obstacle that's in your way. And I talk about this is kind of my thing. Every time you level up, you go from $500,000 to over $1 million. Once you get over $1 million, there's going to be a new set of obstacles, and the freaking universe is going to ask really heavy questions of you. Is this where you want to be? And you're going to have to struggle, and you're going to have to find some inspiration and some new ideas to get over that, because you have never ran $1 million business before. Once you get over $2 million, you've never ran a $2 million business. You need some new ideas, new ways of thinking. Once you have 100 team members, you've never had 100 team members. What does that take? You've never had 7, middle management folks reporting directly to you. You're going to need new ideas and new inspiration, and you'll need that, or you're going to get swallowed up by it. So
I agree.
That's why I think reading is so important.
However, I'm just looking at Full Focus's.
Oh yeah, we pulled this up. We had not even actually seen this, and I was just kind of on the cuff, kind of
number
pulling that
4.
up.
I don't know that I agree with, but maybe it does for some people. But
number 4, reading helps us relax.
It does not help me relax.
Yeah, I don't know that it does. Maybe
I'll fall asleep if I try to relax reading.
I do.
Like people that read in the bed, I can't understand it, because I'm 2 pages in, falling asleep.
I read in the bed, and that's been my habit. And most of the time, I don't fall asleep, but I have been lately, and I've just been tired. Well, it's been 187 degrees outside too, and I don't know if you've done those workouts this week, but the one yesterday, I actually thought I was having a heart attack.
Well, I actually got whiplash from the one yesterday.
Oh yeah, did you fall?
Oh, when I fell off the box.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah, it was.
Jordan and Scott were both telling me about it.
I was asking Brittany yesterday, who's the manager of the gym, if the video cameras were running, and she said they were not because they don't run when classes go on.
Oh, dang it. That's terrible.
It would have been epic.
Yeah.
It was an epic fall.
We would have gotten 10 million hits.
Yeah.
What about number 5? Reading keeps us young. What
Well,
do you think about that?
I was really looking at that, and I believe that's true.
Yeah.
Just from the different here I am again, worldview that I've gotten through reading.
Yeah.
It's helped me have different thoughts on life and business and family that I didn't have before.
Yeah, I think it does keep us young because it keeps me thinking about new ideas, and it keeps, man, golly, this is the second time I'm mentioning Rick Miller in one podcast.
Which is 70 plus years old, by the way. And we're talking about how he gives us new ideas. So but that's a thought.
He stays young because he's reading all the time, and he's inspired, and he's freaking having a great time. And
by the way, he swims longer distances than anybody else I know.
Yeah. Well, except for Hunter. Now Hunter's gotten all. Hunter and Sam are in this triathlon thing.
Yeah.
And
they're 20.
Yeah.
Plus.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, he stays young, and I know that dude reads, and that's probably the best example I can think of. That guy, that's who I want to be when I grow up. When I'm 70 plus, I want to be Rick Miller.
You and me both.
Helping people, swimming, active, having good time, joking around, calling you up, saying, "Hey, I had this idea about you." I'm like, "Oh man, what a dude." And I think reading does a lot of that for him. I think he's constantly putting in new information and processing it and trying to interpret it, and I think he stays up with the times because of that. And maybe that's what causes us to age, is when we get so set in our ways that we don't think that there's any other way to do it. And that's when we start to decay, if you will. I don't know.
No, there's great science around that. I mean, I've listened to. I feel kind of like a scientist because you will.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I've gotten my doctorate in science just through Andrew Huberman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I spent hours listening to that guy.
Lectures.
And then I go tell people about it.
Oh, good.
But I don't attribute it to him.
Well, why would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
It'll make you look smarter, sound smarter. And you got glasses now.
I do. Well, that's because my eyes have gone.
Yeah?
Within a year.
Yeah, well.
I didn't notice it. It's going to happen to you next year.
It's probably going to. So reading is good. It'll keep us young.
It does. And my elders that I have in my life, all of them are readers.
My elders.
And they all have, I don't want to call them old people.
Yeah, my mentors. Yeah.
But if you think about it, the ones who read stay current.
They do. They've got better wisdom from it. They've got a whole lot more experience with life and life events, so they can take that new information and interpret it with a broader breadth of understanding. They can really do that a little bit better than I can, because I'm taking it and running it through my filters of the limited experience that I have.
We may need to have Rick back on the podcast and talk to him about adopting new ideas.
Maybe.
Because he does it better than anybody. He changed his whole business philosophy on a book that just came out probably 5 years ago.
Yeah. So not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. There you go.
Yes.
If that's not a good enough reason to read, I don't know what is. But if you need some more, I think it gives you the inspiration and the new ideas and some insight into how to overcome the obstacles that you are inevitably going to face. And the strange thing is, here's something about the universe. I always get the book and I start to read the book that I'm supposed to read.
Oh, no doubt.
Isn't it crazy? There's some serendipity-ness to that, whatever that word is. Cliff is probably going to slay me for that. But
I will say that, and I'm going to give the author away. I'm not telling the title of the book we're going over, but after we heard Benjamin Hardy speak.
Yeah, Dr.
Benjamin Hardy. It was at the right time for me.
Yeah.
For me to get this book in my hand.
Yeah, and I think it was for me, and it took me, someone, 3 different people suggesting it, emphatically, and then one of them, I think you mentioned it, but then Forrest, I think grabbed me by my head and said, "No, you need to read this now." I'm like, "Okay, got it."
Yeah.
So I started reading, and the introduction is 40 pages, and I fell asleep twice. But
so you don't even remember any of it.
I remember.
You're gonna have to go back and read it.
I know. Man, reading is just it's just critical. If you're gonna, and here's, man, let me just say one more thing about reading is, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to be good. You want to be good at your job. You want to be good in your career. You want to be good in all aspects of your life. This is one of those things that just is a requirement. Getting up and working out is, I think, crucial to having a good life. Setting aside time for date night and thinking about your wife is crucial to having a good relationship. Setting aside time and slowing down enough to listen to your children and see what's going on with them, setting aside time for dinner around the table, I think is crucial to having a good relationship with your children. If you want to be a good leader and run a good business, reading is one of those things. And I think it all overlaps. I think it all gives you perspective, and greater insight. I think it gives you inspiration, and you're going to be a happier person, and you're going to get up and go to that workout, and then you're going to make time for the date night, and you're going to make time for the family night. I think it overlaps everything.
Speaking of overlap, a good place to start reading is overlaplife.com. You can go to Stuff We Like, and Sid's reading list is on there.
That's the best damn segue you've ever done. I almost fell out of my chair, guys. That was fantastic. That's almost Ben Shapiro-esque.
Yeah, it is. I'm not selling gold, though.
Yeah, but first.
You got to buy gold.
You got to buy gold. Yeah, hey, so go to the Overlap. Man, it's a great.
Sid, we just put Sid's reading list on there a couple weeks ago. And so you can get all the books that he recommends to his team members.
Yeah. We're going to pull that up right now. Where is it at? Stuff We Like?
Stuff We Like.
Okay, here we go. How about this for off the cuff? Oh, we got ski and snowboards. Man, It's almost time to start...
It's time to ski again.
We've been doing
all of
squats.
March for me.
Have you seen this blue hat of mine? I've lost the melon hat. I don't know where it's at.
Scott has stole one of them.
He did. He stole the black one. I saw that the other day, but it was his birthday, so I didn't give him a hard time.
Sid's reading list.
There we go. The E-Myth. Yeah, great game of business. Fantastic. Entree leadership. We did a 4-part series on that. I like that book so much. Profit First for the Green Industry by Christine Eyre. Had her on, and Steve Bousquet.
Hey, speaking of that, they did an audiobook.
Oh, they did do an audiobook.
It's good.
And Steve has got a new, man, they've got an event coming up. I'm going to look for that. Steve. But he's got, is it GPAGreenProfitAcademy.com? They've got an event coming up that is like a little getaway and planning for next year.
I'm not in the green industry, but I'm probably going to go.
Yeah, I think it's for anyone. Yeah, I think you should go. Here we go. What we offer. I think they had something. Either way, I'll find that. We'll
link it in the show notes.
But Steve is crushing it. Steve and Christine, they are, they just got a lot of things for folks in the landscape industry, to
they've
help
believed
them
in us for a long time.
They have, too. And they've got a lot of stuff, online courses, one-on-one courses. I think they've got peer groups. They've got getaways where you get away from your business and help plan for the next year. It's pretty fantastic. So give them a shout, and that's just go check them out. GreenProfitAcademy.com.
Speaking about getting away, I think you and I have our quarterly scheduled, so we're going to come up with some new stuff.
We've got some new stuff coming up. Yep. And hey, that's on the reading list. It's got to be the EOS book. Traction.
Yep.
Traction by Gino Wickman. And Get a Grip. I like that book. So that's the only fiction I do read, is those business fables.
Yeah, me too.
So it does explain how traction works in your business through, whatchamacallit.
And I'm going to give you a little hack on EOS because, quite frankly, I haven't read all the books, but I got a great understanding from Get a Grip, and it's kind of a fable.
Yeah.
So if you want to start, for me, if you want to start with EOS, Get a Grip. And then subsequently, I read the other books just because we talk about EOS so much. But Get a Grip really explained the whole process to me.
Yeah, I agree. It does. It gives you the full picture.
And the audiobook there is good. I've read the paper copy and listened to the audiobook. And the audiobook's really great.
Yeah. What we should have had on there is that book, Breathe by Hickson Gracie. We've got our business books in here. We need jiu-jitsu books. Because if you're not training jiu-jitsu, you're missing out on some I have probably steered more people into jiu-jitsu in the last 2 weeks than almost any other time.
And looking at this, we need to call Jocko because we're pumping Origin pretty hot and heavy.
I do like the Origin gear.
I do
man.
too. It's my favorite.
I like the rash guards. I like the gis. They fit great. We do have Moya brand shorts right there. But man, so I think looking from the data, it's something like 70%, maybe 80% of our listeners are males. Fair?
Yeah, probably so.
And of those, lots of them are business leaders. And we talk about this, being a business leader is pretty lonely because, you kind of get sucked into your business and it takes a lot of your time, effort, and energy, when you're getting it off the ground and doing stuff. Now, what jiu-jitsu will do that's probably a little different than just going to work out is you're going to have to take some faith in me saying this a little bit, maybe trust me, a little bit of trust and faith, but it forces you to kind of get out of your head and try something, and you'll be uncomfortable, but you're really close interacting with other dudes, and it breaks down what I feel like is a real problem, especially in the contractor world or small business world in general, is the fake facades that we put on to not look like, who we really are.
There are no fake facades in jiu-jitsu.
There is nothing in jiu-jitsu.
No.
You are going to be a newcomer, and that's okay. And, you're not going to understand. You're not going to be able to get out of side control, and you're going to just feel defeated. And you're going to go right now while I'm saying this, go, why the hell would I do that? And I was like, because you need to, because that's what life is. You're going to suck at business at some point, it happened to me a lot. You're going to get knocked down, but do you know how to get back up? Do you know how to just humbly swallow that and go, man, I got to work on this. I've gone broke 2 times specifically, like real bad. And each time it totally changed me and it allowed me to be something really stronger. Jiu-jitsu, man, every day is like that.
I've gone broke once, but it lasted like 5 years.
Thank God it didn't last that long for me. Oh, but jiu-jitsu, man, it gives you an opportunity to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and it really does start to connect you with, if you're a guy or a girl, because there's girls in jiu-jitsu, and I sort of suggest that they, train and hang out with girls, because we're all married. But it does connect you with other people like nothing else that I've ever really seen. CrossFit's kind of like that because it's shared suffering. And there's a lot going on there, but jiu-jitsu is just different,
It is.
And the relationships
it's been the best
form,
thing for my life that I've probably ever done.
It's fantastic. I mean, marrying Jordan was probably the best thing I ever did.
I knew you were going to say something sappy like that. Well, I wasn't even talking about that. Stephanie, I love you. I'm sorry, Sid. Usurped the whole process.
Jordan doesn't even listen. because she's tired of hearing us say the word perspective. But jiu-jitsu, if you're not doing it, man, you just go try it, and you might hate it, but give it about 5 classes, and you'll start making time to go because it's just that impactful. There's my speech on jiu-jitsu. Oh, and where can you train jiu-jitsu? If you're in the Eastern Shore, Mobile area, there's Checkmat Daphne at 10758 County Road 64, where we have fantastic instructors. So good that we used to be at another gym and we searched out another place to just get better, and then found something vastly superior than what we ever thought possible. And now we've got people that are in the game so much that we're learning new stuff that people don't train against.
For the first time ever, last week, I was in a class with all higher belts than me.
Yeah.
Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's rare in a jiu-jitsu gym.
And I get beat up every time.
Every time.
I did take Jose down. I did take him down.
He said almost.
Well, yeah, it probably wouldn't have been points because I couldn't hold him down for 3 seconds, but I don't know anyone that can.
No, me neither.
He's like a freaking bull. But God, I had him. I had it set up too, and I was actually thinking about it the night before. And he stepped right into it. Boom! And so I felt real good about myself. So I haven't gone back to train since. Well, no, I did the next day, and he made me pay for it. Oh well. It's been a busy week.
Rambling a long time.
We've been rambling. Hey,
go to the Stuff We Like page, though. We got some cool stuff on there.
And if you're wondering about what to read, just try that one. Try that reading list. It's pretty good. It's good to get you started. I will say this. I feel very confident that whatever you start reading is probably the one you need to read. You having profit issues or cash flow management issues, read Profit First. It'll change your world. You're having issues with just how to get started running a business or how to even thinking about it. That E-Myth book is fantastic. You got a bunch of people and you're trying to get them inspired. The Great Game of Business, fantastic, so go read
Now
something.
that I look at that, I need to put some of my, tree-hugging philosophy worldview books up there.
You probably should. Is the Communist Manifesto in there? What about Behold a Pale Horse? You know any of those?
No.
Golly, dude. I used to be a flaming liberal whenever I was in college. That's enough from us. Good topic, Keith. Thank you for that. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, sponsors. Man, hopefully everyone is getting value out of this, and that's our goal. And hopefully you go out. We've inspired you to read and really start to change your life one book at a time.
There it is.
There it is.
Peace.
Hey there. My good friend Steve Bousquet and his partner, Christine Era, the owners of Green Profit Academy, are super excited about a new product they've got coming out. If you didn't know, they're the authors of Profit First for the Lawn Care Business. And it's a book written by Christine Era. Steve plays a big role in sort of adding to that. But they've got that book. It's already out. But if you're an audiobook listener, and you just learn better by listening, they've got the audio version coming out. And I think this is really cool. They've got Christine Era narrating the audiobook, and she does a really good job. I've heard some clips of it. It's pretty fantastic. And Mike Michalowicz, the original author of Profit First, he reads the foreword. And so they've got a book launch that's going to come out on their website, Green Profit Academy, and you should stay tuned for more information about that. They're going to have some giveaways. They're going to have some other special deals going on. But the book itself, the audio book, will come out September 12th. So please be on the lookout for that. And if you need some help with Profit First for your green industry business, please give them a call or look them up, Green Profit Academy. Thanks so much. Okay, guys, everyone knows if you're a business owner, a business leader, or you're just a person in the world needing help with accounting, you need a real partner. You need someone that's going to listen to you and not just plug numbers in to make their job easy to do your taxes. At least that's what I want. I've been through a lot of accountants in my life, and I have yet to find one even remotely as good as Johnny Baranco. He's the owner of Baranco and Associates, and he's the kind of guy that really doesn't manipulate your books to make his job easier. He really is trying to give you insights into your business or into your financial planning world. Whatever your goals are, he's there to help. And so I just encourage you to give him a call. Baranco and Associates, look him up online. It's barancoandassociates.com and just see if he can help you. He really is the accountant that I recommend to everyone, even before he was a sponsor of the podcast. So please, if you need an accountant, just do yourself a favor and give him a call.